Hello, it's just a quick video updating on some of my trees, mostly the silver maples. I know silver maples aren't a popular choice for most people because of the weaker wood, excuse me, and the larger leaves, but you can still use them as bonsai material. To get the leaves to reduce size, here, see if I can give you a good example. Sorry for the lighting here. So here's a good example of a large leaf. So what you do is you just take the large leaf, you pinch it off, you leave, I don't have any nails, that would work better, but you leave part of the stem there. The stem will fall off on its own, but what will happen then is you'll see that the leaves will grow back twice as many, but half the size. So you could do that, 3 or 4 times throughout the year, and get good leaf reduction. Let's see if I can find a better example. This is just one. This one here I've had for about 4 years. It almost died at one point, but it just has this. It's got some flaws or characteristics, however you want to call it. Depends on your point of view. But I'm going to give it a major pruning here now that fall's almost here. That's a green ash. That's a different story for another day. Here's another one I've been working on. This one is only about 2 years old. I had it in a bonsai pot, but it just wasn't getting good growth, so I put in this bigger pot here so that it could grow a better root system and develop more. But it's got some decent branching for only being 2 years old. I pinched off a few of the leaves. Typically what you want to do with these trees is like most other bonsais, as the trees grow out, it gets about 2 or 3 nodes, and then you pinch it off. And when you pinch it off, it'll then sprout into 2 branches, and then do the same thing on those 2 branches. As it grows, 2 or 3 nodes, pinch it off, and then 2 more and 2 more, and that's how you get the branching structure to develop the way you want it. This is a Shantung maple, which I've got. I won't talk a lot about this now because I've got some other videos dedicated just to this tree, which I've had for about 9 years. It's seen some battles, as you can tell, but I love it. It's my favorite tree. It just needs to be cleaned up. Here's another silver maple. This one's only about 2 years old, but it's grown pretty vigorously for only being 2 years, and it's got great movement in the trunk here, and good root here. This, interestingly enough, I just cut a branch off last winter and stuck it in the pot, and it just grew like that. So apparently you can do that. But silver maples are nice because they're tough. I mean, you can hardly kill these things even if you try. Really, about the only way you can kill them is by not watering them enough. This one in particular, I had it sitting over in that area, and it got more sun and would dry out, so I had to move it over here. Other than that, you can overwater them. Pardon me. You can water these things to death. You can cut them in half and they'll just keep growing. I had one in my last house where it's exactly what I did. It was just kind of a rogue tree. It was about that big around, and I didn't want it where it was at anymore, and I cut it in half just in an effort to kill it, but it just grew right back. As soon as it grew back the same season, I cut it in half again thinking, okay, that'll do it. Still it grew back. So I mean, these things are just super tough. So those are some of the bigger silver maples I've got. Over here, this one is I got creative one day and just tied it in a knot. Not your typical bonsai style, but it was just a little shoot that popped up in the yard, and it was just at a protected little spot. I thought, oh, what the heck, let's see. And it lives, so they can survive. And eventually what will happen here is that will just be a big knot in the tree. The trunk thickens up, and then this just becomes a knot. Seems like I had one. Oh, here's a good example. Look at this right down here. I did the same thing with this a while back, and you can see here that's exactly what happened. is it just turns into a knot like so. Sorry for my rough camera work. Not much of a cameraman. But here's another one that I didn't tie it in a knot. Let's see if I can get this out of the way. But just used some twisty ties as it was real young. This is about 2 years old, and just made it do this little loop-de-loop. This little Japanese maple here is kind of an attention hog. Wants to get in the camera. Come on now, work with me. All right. So yeah, I just kind of styled it that way, and now just working on a little bit of branch structure. I mean, it's little. Typically, you want to wait until the trunks are much bigger and then start working on the branching ramification. But you know, I'm patient. I don't have anything to lose. It's just a little tree that shot up in the yard one year. So this is another one. I tried a different style here. Let me get this guy out of the way. It's not pretty, but it's just something that I'm trying. Clip and grow. So I've got it slanting kind of at an angle like that. And then I clipped it at one point right there and let that branch kind of be the leader. And then it grew this way, and then I clipped it again, and then it's starting to come out. So once all the leaves fall, I'll figure out what exactly I want to do with that. See if I've got any others to note. There's just a little silver maple forest I'm working on. It's in really rough shape. It's just kind of a little thing I did one morning. We'll see how it goes. This is a red maple that I've got. This thing, believe it or not, is about 4 years old. And one funny thing that it does every year is that the leaves turn into this kind of a rubbery, almost papery type substance. So instead of this, you know, the way a leaf is supposed to be, it's more like this brittle paper. And just this year I thought, you know what, I don't know what it's doing. So I just cut all the leaves off, completely defoliated the whole thing. And it instantly just grew back. I mean, more vigorous than ever. It doubled in size in 1 year. So I guess that's a learning experience for me. When leaves do that, cut all the leaves off, and they'll just grow back healthy. It's starting to do it again, but I won't have to defoliate it because it's almost full. So just a little boxwood. That's going to end up being a gift for some friends of mine that just got married. So that'll be for my friends. This is a interesting one. I had never seen or heard of this before. It's a western sand cherry. It's a shrub. Basically, you can tell I have a thing for turning shrubs into bonsais because they're so cheap and they're so easy and they're durable. And I mean, you know, I'm no bonsai expert, so it's just a good way to learn if you're kind of new at it like I am. So I'd recommend it. You can go and pick one of these up. I think I paid $5 for this and about $7 for the pot. Took some lava rock out of the driveway one time, crushed it up with a hammer, mixed it in with some soil, and voila. The boxwoods, those will cost you $5 to $7 at Walmart or Home Depot or wherever, or Lowe's. This is a new one. I haven't done anything with it yet. Just got it the other day. It's an oak leaf sumac. I really don't know anything about it, so, but I just thought it looked cool. It's got some real nice trunk structure here and a lot of branches to work with, and the leaves are colorful and small, and it should be interesting. We'll see. It's kind of a shrub also, but we'll see how it does. This one here, I can't even remember the name of it, and I almost killed it the other day. I chopped so much of it down, but this is really just a common shrub that you would see in somebody's, you know, yard or kind of a landscape accent. It's got, usually would have little small yellow flowers on it too. I'm sure you've seen it a million times. But yeah, that's about it. This here is a coral bark Japanese maple. Looks like a squirrel had gotten into it earlier this year and almost killed it, but it bounced back. In the wintertime, this tree is really cool because this bark turns a bright red. In fact, you can see it starting to in there. But it looks super cool in the winter. So that's why I got it. And this, I believe, is a Katsura Japanese maple. Haven't done a lot with it yet. I've kind of just let it grow. I wired some of the branches down just to control the shape, the direction that they were growing. So it looks like there's a lot going on there, but it's not as exciting as it might seem. For the most part, I've just kind of let it grow, and then I'll form it later on when all the leaves fall off, when it goes dormant. So there it is. That's a look at my bonsais. One thing too I'd recommend, I thought it was a cool idea, and so far it's going well, is get yourself a wisteria vine or something along those lines, and just put it at the bottom of your bonsai rack. And I'd say in a year or two, that's gonna wrap all around and give it a little more character than just a metal shelf. Same thing here, except that's a Virginia creeper. It's the actual name of it. So there you go. That's a look at all the trees there. Silver maple, Shantung maple, silver maple, and ash. I think it's a green ash, I believe. I think it's the same as these. Didn't come from this area, but just coincidence. So there you go. Hope you enjoy.